Hello, today we will be doing parts of a right triangle as well as the Pythagorean theorem. We should have seen this before, so this will just be a quick review. And let's get started with the notes. So we have a right triangle here. We can see that because it does have that 90-degree angle. And so sides A and B are called legs. So that is A and B. And these two are interchangeable. So we could have said this side was B, we could have said this side was A. It doesn't really matter. The one that does matter, and it is very important, is side C. And side C is called the hypotenuse. And the hypotenuse is not interchangeable. The hypotenuse is always going to be opposite our 90-degree angle. So this side is always going to be C. And so we can say that hypotenuse is always opposite. So always opposite our right angle. And so the Pythagorean theorem is used to find a missing side length on a right triangle. And our equation for that, and it's something you should have seen before, is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. And so wherever you have a little bit of space, probably off to the right, I do want you guys to write the variation. So let's write b squared is equal to c squared minus a squared, and then a squared is equal to c squared minus b squared. I do want you guys to take a second to see that these are subtraction signs. So when we're looking for the legs, so we're looking for A or B, they are subtraction. But if we are looking for our hypotenuse, that is going to be an addition problem. So let's take a look on how we would do some examples. So we have number 1 in our notes. I'm always going to start off labeling my hypotenuse because that one's my easiest one to see. So we have our 90-degree angle here. I know my hypotenuse is always going to be opposite. So in this case, this would be my hypotenuse. Then of course I can choose whichever one I want for the legs. So in this case, I'm going to say that's A, and that is going to be B. And we are looking for our hypotenuse, so that is our traditional equation. So we're going to say a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. And from here on, it's actually really easy to find. All we are doing is replacing our a and our b. So a squared is going to be a squared plus our b squared, which is now 7 squared, and that is what we are going to use to find our c squared. When we find our squares, 8 squared is actually 64, plus our 7 squared, which is 49, and that is what c squared is going to equal. So of course we would be adding these up, and when we do that we get actually 200. No, we don't not get 200. We get 113. So you get 113 is equal to c squared. You can't do it step by step like I did so right now, but we can also input all of this into our calculator right away. So we could say 8 squared plus 7 squared and jump straight to 113. So you can do that, or you can do it step by step. It doesn't really matter. We will be getting the same answer. And then we are left with c squared is equal to 113. In this case, we do need to get our c by itself, but we have the little problem of this square being right here. So in order to cancel that square out, we have to find the square root of both sides. So this allows us to cancel our squared. And if you don't know how to find the square root on the calculator, it's just second x squared. So the button you use for this, but we're putting the second button before that. And when we do that, we should get C is approximately 10.6. That would be our answer for number 1. Number 2 is actually pretty similar. We have our C, and I'm going to label that first because it is the easiest to find. So I'm going to say C, the side that is across from our 90-degree angle. Then I'm going to say A is right here and B is right there. Again, you could have said this side was B, you could have said this side was A. It does not really matter. So we are looking for C. So I am going to use my traditional equation. I'm going to say A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. Okay. We will be replacing our sides now. So A squared, A is equal to 18. So I'm going to say 18 squared plus our B is 15 squared is equal to C squared. All right. Again, all of this can be inputted into the calculator at the same time. But if you do not feel like doing that, or you want to do it step by step, we could say 18 squared was 324, and then 15 squared should have given us 225, and that would have been equal to C squared. Once we added these two up, we should have said that is 549 equal to C squared. Again, to cancel that, we are going to take the square root of both sides. So square root here, square root there. And again, if you don't know how to find a square root on your calculator, please stop this video, call me over, and I will show you. And then when we do take the square root, it's going to be C is approximately 23.4. Let's take a look at number 3. So number 3 is a little bit different. 3 and 4 are going to be a little bit different from what we are used to seeing. But the only difference here is that when we label these sides, so this is, when we label the sides, this is our C. So we already have our hypotenuse in this case. We're not looking for it. And this, I'm going to say, is my A, and this is my B. So in this case, we are looking for one of our sides. So that is going to be one of our subtraction problems. So our equation is going to say B squared, because that is what we're looking for, is equal to C squared minus A squared. From here on, we could replace our values. So we're going to say 13 squared minus 6 squared, and we can input that in our calculator, but remember, it is a subtraction problem. From that, you will be working it the same way. So try to do this one by yourself. So take a minute, pause this video, and see if you can get an answer. Do call me over when you have found your answer so I can check and make sure that you got the correct one. So once you have found that, let's look at number 4. Number 4 is set up the way we set up number 3. So this one is different. Again, this is our C. This time we do have our hypotenuse. And I am going to say this is A and this is B. Okay, so we do have our C, so we do know it is a subtraction problem. So I am going to use my equation for A. So that is A squared is equal to C squared minus B squared. And then we will be replacing the things that we know. So again, A squared is 30 squared minus our b squared, which is 25 squared. From here, you can input all of this into the calculator. So once you've done that, call me over. I will be checking for what you got. And then after that, do numbers 5 and 6 on your own. And do let me know what you got for those two answers as well.